Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for getting on the One Significant Purpose call that we do each and every Tuesday. As my desire is to share information, to share testimonies, get input from each other, to keep each other encouraged, to grow in our respective businesses, to grow as a people, as a community, as an entrepreneur community, to grow and to reach our greatness, to become the superhero that we've always dreamed and fantasized of being about, to stop, to get unstuck from settling for the life you've been giving and to step into the life that you dream of. That's the whole vision and purpose of this, to share transformational truths to help us get to the next level. And for the past few weeks, we've been doing just that. We've been sharing principles, transformational truths that will help us get, if applied, get to the next level. One of my coaches told me one time, he said, until you have applied what you've already heard, you're not even qualified to receive what you need to hear to get to the next level. And so tonight we're going to jump right in. I'm not going to hold you guys long. Give me 10 or 15 good solid minutes, and then I'm going to let you go. But tonight, and for those of you that are listening to this on the replay, of course, you can go back in the archives and listen to the last few calls we've done. We did a series of the last 3 weeks. We were talking about 3 factors. The quality, I talked about the quality of your life depends on 3 things, and that was the quality of your communication, that was your ability to execute, and that was your discipline and consistency. And then the next week I talked about resolve to get in the game. And then, of course, last week I talked about what do you do once you're in the game? You've decided to get in the game. You made a decision to get it done. And then you get on the field of play in the game of life, and then you feel stuck. So what do you do to get unstuck? So I talked about those things. You can always go back and listen to the replays and listen to those calls again, take notes or whatever. And like I said, I'm no genius. I'm no creator of these concepts or ideas, but these are just things that I've learned from my coaches, from my mentors, that I have applied and am applying in my life, and things that I've found success in all areas, across the board in all areas. I talk about a quadruple double lifestyle: faith, family, fitness, and finance. And those are things that I'm applying and learning and growing through in my life that's helping me to get to the next level of success and the next level of greatness. And well, tonight, one thing I want to talk about is understanding. One thing is that there's a sacrificial cost when it comes to greatness. You've got to understand the sacrificial cost to greatness. Greatness never goes on sale, and it's a sacrifice that has to be made in order to get to greatness. So in order to be great, you've got to be willing to give up some things, because it just doesn't come. We all have the potential. We're all born with the potential to be great, but we all don't necessarily step into our greatness and become great. And tonight I'm going to explain what I mean when I say that. So there's a sacrificial cost to greatness. And like I said, success, greatness, success, interchange those two, but it doesn't come easy. It's easy being average. It's easy being comfortable. I heard a gentleman say, Mr. David Imonitier say the other day, I was listening to one of his training CDs, and I was listening to him say that your comfort zone is your broke zone. Because all the money that you're ever going to make up to this point, you've already made it inside your comfort zone. So success and greatness is only found outside of the comfort zone, meaning that you've got to sacrifice convenience. They talk about, a lot of my coaches have talked about becoming comfortable being uncomfortable. So we understand that success doesn't come easy, nor does it go on sale. You must pay. At the counter of success, Jim Rohn said this once. He said, at the counter of success, you must be willing to pay full retail. You must be willing to pay full retail. So in other words, think about it like this. What is it that you see? Because you don't get what you want, but you get what you picture or what you see. So the imagination of Mike Humes, another one of my mentors, Mike Humes, said one time that imagination times vision equals reality. So what is it that you're seeing? What is it that you're picturing? How do you see yourself? How are you seeing yourself? And, of course, some of the things that I've talked about, the quality of your communication with yourself, all those things that I've talked about over the past few weeks kind of ties in to tonight. So what is it that you see? What's your perspective of the things that are going on in your life? the things that are happening to you? What is your perspective of it? Do you see the glass half empty or half full? Because in order to get to greatness, your perspective has to change. Your mindset about what's happening to you has to change. It's got to be a process of I'm growing through this, not woe is me, look what I'm going through, because we all go through things. There's nothing new under the sun, but how we handle it, each of us handle things differently, and that determines how we get to the next level. Do we get to the next level with victory badges, or do we get to the next level of beaten and bruised and barely making it across the finish line? Because Jim Rohn said one time, he said, the winds of life blow on us all, but it's not the blowing of the winds, it's the setting of the sail that determines your destination. So what is your perspective? What is it that you're looking at? How are you looking at the situations that come upon you in your life? Because you got to understand, if you're looking at it from an entrepreneur, from a success, from a greatness mindset, then you say, this is just another obstacle for me to get over. This is an opportunity for me to become greater. This is an opportunity for me to become better. And then, what are you willing to give up? This is the big one right here. This is where a lot of people get stuck. Eric Thomas said, be willing at any moment to die to who you are, to give birth to who you are becoming, to who you're going to be. You must be willing at any moment to sacrifice who you are to give birth to who you are to be, who you're becoming. Who you are to be, you're now becoming. So what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to die to the old you, to the old way of thinking, to the old life, to the old way you handle business? Are you willing to die to that person so that you can give birth to the person that has the potential that's being stretched out? Are you willing to become this new superhero? Are you willing to die to the old Clark Kent to become Superman? Are you willing to die to just being a top scorer and becoming a top scorer, top rebounder, top defender, top shot blocker? You know what I'm saying? Are you willing to develop into the quadruple double lifestyle type person that we talk about, that superhero? So be willing to give up some things. You got to give up some things, some friends, some old friends. Sometimes we can desire to want a thing, but a lot of times we stay in the environment that keeps our thinking the same way. So we've got to, sometimes the sacrifice to greatness means that we got to cut some things off. We got to cut some people loose. We've got to cut some old habits. We got to cut some TV shows. I'm watching good things. I'm watching positive things now. I'm listening to mentors. You know, I'm praying more. You know, I'm spending less time watching reality TV and spending more time in my word, studying my word, studying the principles that God has established, learning what his blueprint for my life was in the first place. I'm rediscovering who he created me to be. I'm reading more motivational things on life and success. I'm reading about people who've already made millions so they can shorten my learning curve to teach me how to get there. I'm sacrificing my time doing things that really don't get me anywhere to doing things that will get me to where it is that I see myself wanting to go, that my desire, that my want says I need to get there. So now I'm applying my desire, and my wants are becoming congruent with my activity, with the things that I'm sacrificing, the things that I'm giving up. I'm sacrificing some conversations, some way of thinking, some ways of some attitudes and old behaviors. I'm sacrificing. I'm cutting it loose, and I'm feeding myself with the right things, with information that's going to get me to the next level. So, and I understand, I remember Jim Rohn said one time, he said, in 5 years you will arrive. I love this. He said, in 5 years you will arrive. Question is where? Now, here's the thing. You're going to arrive in one of two places. You're either going to arrive at an undisciplined, undesired destination that your habits have brought you to, that your undisciplined lifestyle that you failed to sacrifice for the good, they're going to bring you to some place. That's the destination you arrive at. Or you will arrive at a disciplined, planned destination. You planned it out. You said, I'm cutting this off. I'm stopping this. I'm going to start doing this. I'm developing some healthy habits. I'm developing some effective habits of healthy people, some effective habits of positive people, of successful people. I'm developing those habits. I'm implementing those habits in my life on a day-to-day basis. I'm making a transformation of my life so that in 5 years, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, I can look back and say, yes, the juice was worth the squeeze. I'm at a destination now that I planned out and that I saw myself being, and now I'm there. And I can look back and say, man, I've made it. But here's the thing, is that at each level, the desire to grow more grows more. The desire to become more grows more, because now you're growing, and we're progressive by nature. So once I get to this level, you know, this is the old goal. This is the old vision now. Now I need to get to the next level. And then we just repeat the process. So next level living requires next level habits and thinking. Greatness, to get to greatness, to go from average to good to great, requires a new level of thinking. It was a quote I heard one time, and I don't know if I'm saying it right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it was somewhere amongst the lines of, your level of thinking to this point has created a situation and a lifestyle that in order to get to the next level is going to require an even greater level of thinking. So in other words, the thinking that got you to the point where you are right now, that level of thinking, in order to get beyond that, in order to grow, is going to require a new level of thinking. Are you willing to take on a new level of thinking? Are you willing to feed yourself with the information that's going to take you to the next level? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? So your thinking to this point has created your present situation, and at the next level, it's going to require a new level of thinking. So in other words, you need to apply what you've got now to get to the next level, and that next level is going to require a new level of thinking. So information, more information. You got to get more information. You got to get the right information, and you've got to get around the right people. And I said it a while ago. Desire plus knowledge plus activity times faith equals success and greatness. That's your new math. That's the math problem for the day. I wasn't that good in math, but I've got this formula. This is an equation that you can apply to your life. So it's desire plus knowledge plus activity. This is not a long division problem. It's one of those long math problems. So desire plus knowledge plus activity times faith equals success and greatness. You get that? Desire plus knowledge plus activity. You got to have the desire. You've got to want it. They talk about, and Napoleon Hill talks about, a red hot burning desire. Desire plus knowledge. You got to go out and get the knowledge, the learned knowledge, the modeling knowledge, and then the activity knowledge. You got to get the knowledge. Find a mentor. Find somebody that's done it, that's doing it. Learn what they did. Shorten your learning curve. Desire plus knowledge plus activity, the glue that holds it all together. Faith without works is dead. So you got to have some activity, because you got to develop your own ratio. You got to see what works and what doesn't work, and then you go back, plan, do, review. So desire plus knowledge plus activity times faith. Faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I see myself at this place, this ranch, this house. I see myself building a hospital. I see myself pouring into community. I see myself building a community center. I see myself leaving a legacy for my children and my children's children, setting up treasures for the homeless. I see myself setting up treasures for my children. I see myself feeding the homeless millions and millions of dollars. I see myself taking my family on a cruise, doing these things for them, showing them a lifestyle that they haven't witnessed yet. The people from my neighborhood don't necessarily get to see. I see it. That's the faith. When I multiply that's the hope. That's what's giving me the hope for the future. That's what I'm going towards. And then when I add the rest of the equation, the desire, the knowledge, the activity to it, and I'm consistent with it, then it equals success and greatness. So you ask yourself, when it comes to sacrificing to get to greatness, me and a good friend of mine, Mr. Bruce Cunningham, he's a director, a motion picture, film director. he talks about, we always talk about, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? So you got to ask yourself, is what I'm longing for, if what I see myself as, if what this dream that I have, this greatness, my definition of greatness, if getting to that point, is it worth what I'm having to sacrifice to get it? You have to ask yourself that. Because if you don't feel that it's worth it, if the juice isn't worth the squeeze, a lot of times that we won't stay consistent with what's necessary to get to it. If we don't feel like it's a worthy cause, eventually the momentum and the desire and the what word am I looking for when something new comes off? It dies off. The fire, the excitement will die down. But that's when you got to stay committed, because if it is, and a lot of times it will be worth the squeeze, but a lot of times we're not willing. What happens is we don't count up the cost. We don't really understand what we're asking for, because the juice will be worth the squeeze, but is our desire to get it, is it strong enough to go through the squeeze to get to the juice, if that makes sense? So in other words, we got to understand that it's not going to come free. So going into this dream, we've got to understand that it's going to be some sacrifice, and there are going to be some things that come up against us that's going to test how bad we really want it. And that's where tonight's principle comes into play. Will the lifestyle you dream about be worth what you had to grow through and give up to get to the lifestyle, to get to the dream, to get to our definition of greatness? That the lifestyle that we deserve, that God has promised for us. And I've got a principle. I told you all my principles are scriptures that tells us how we can get through it, how we can grow through it to get to that level. And it's found in James chapter 1, starting at verse number 2. And I'm going to be quick about it. This is out of the Message Bible. Like I said, I love the Message Bible because it breaks it down and makes it plain. It says, consider it a sure gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith, life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. How bad do you want it? So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so that you become mature and well-developed and not deficient in any way. I'm going to read it again. Consider it a sure gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides, because you know that under pressure, your faith, your life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so that you become mature and well-developed, not deficient in any way. In other words, you're growing through it. You're in the gym, the workout of a lifetime. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to be molded into this sculpture of greatness, this beautiful masterpiece? Are you willing to let the things that come up against you, and of course the King James Version says, count it not strange about these fiery trials that come upon you. You know the scripture. Don't count it strange. Does that because you grew up where you grew up, does that exempt you from going through stuff? Because you got to be tested to see how bad you want it. Have you earned the right to call yourself, say if it's a millionaire, have you earned the right to call yourself a millionaire? Anybody can go out and earn $1 million, but a millionaire means that I've earned it, I've multiplied it, and I've shown others how to do the same. That's significant. That's why we're here, one significant purpose. So we've shown others how to do the same. So that's what James talks about. So count it not strange. So there's going to be things that's going to come up. Things are going to happen. How bad do you want it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Of course. So be ready. Stand strong. Don't let anybody steal your dream. Don't let anything stop you from going after that which you say you want, that you know can set your family free. Don't let anybody take it from you. because there's a great cost. There's a sacrificial cost to greatness. That's all I have for tonight. So if anybody wants to chime in, I think I heard somebody else jump on. But for those of you that are listening to it on the replay, feel free to shoot me a text and everything. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys tonight. If anybody did chime in and they want to have a comment, question or comment or whatever, feel free to do so at this time.
Hey, C. This is Katrina. How are you?
Hey, Miss Katrina, how you doing?
I'm great. I had gotten off work and noticed that your time, I hope it was after 6:15, but I am so glad that I did chime in. OMG. OMG. This was just, whew. I mean, when you said your comfort zone is your broke zone, oh, man, did that hit me. That hit me really, really hard. That was so profound to me. I mean, everything that you said was just on point, and I cannot wait to listen to the replay. I'm driving home, but, yeah, I couldn't take notes, but I stopped at the gas station to write that down so I wouldn't forget it. Your comfort zone, your broke zone. Wow. Yeah.
Yes,
so.
Yes, ma'am.
Food for the soul.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm glad that you could, join us and jump on and catch that. But I'll definitely make sure I send out the replay number and stuff. And,
yes,
really
please do.
For you.
Do you know when you're gonna do that? Because I'm ready to listen to that again.
Okay. I mean, if you go back in some of the other texts, it's in there. But as soon as I hang up from here, I'll make sure I post it.
Okay.
I'll make sure I post it as soon as we hang up. As soon as I hang this up, so that'll give it time to set in the system, so that way when you call in to listen to it, it'll be there.
Okay. Awesome.
And then the other ones, if you go back, I think this one might be like call number 125. So then last week was like 124, because it'll ask you for a reference number. So if you go like 125, 124, 120, and just on back, all the way back to 1, because, we were doing this for 4 years strong before we kind of took a break, and now we're back at it. So it's a bunch of calls. I mean, when we were interviewing people, and we had different guests on the call. So.
Okay. That would definitely be great. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make sure I put that replay number on there for you. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. It was awesome. Absolutely. Good job.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Yes.
All right. Anybody else? Anybody else have anything? I know Mr. Wooten was on here, but he had muted himself out because of his background noise. So anybody else have any questions or comments? Going once, going twice. Well, all right. Well, somebody just chimed in. You can go back and listen to the replay. I'll be definitely posting the replay number that you can call in and listen to this call, in a few minutes. So you can go back and listen to the replay. But I thank you guys for getting on. Like I said, my name is Lieutenant Callie, a.k.a. Mr. Citrus Ivy. This is the One Significant Purpose call, and I thank you guys for jumping on board. Take care, take charge, but don't stop there. It's time to take over, because as King's kids, if anybody should be reigning and ruling, it should be us. So I see you guys at the top or from the top.
All right. Good night.
Blessings.